There we go.
Alright. Do we gotta say it, or do we just get to sign it?
Oh, you gotta say it.
Oh, boy. Stand up and everything, or
I
are
don't
we
know what the
good?
rules are on that, but.
All right, I, Liza Larson, do solemnly swear and or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the Office of Economic Development Authority in the County of Dodge, the State of Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability.
I, Janice Borgstrom Durst, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the Office of Economic Development Authority in the County of Dodge, State of Minnesota, to the best of my judgment and ability. Do we have a statement of what our purpose is, or?
We do have that on the website, I don't have one here,
Okay.
but we can certainly email that to you.
Yeah, I'd like to know what our, you want me to sign this in ink or with a pen?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Hopefully it works.
I try to sign nothing in ink.
Sign in pencil so you get a raise?
That's right.
Yeah. 6-year term, you're committed now.
No.
Well,
It is a 6-year term by state statute.
she's just filling the remainder of the one.
Some of them are
Yes.
just, some people step down early,
Yeah, people can
Yeah.
step
So
down
she-
early, yeah.
fulfilling the rest of the term
I
somewhat.
plan on being here for another 6.
Right, well, I wasn't talking about that.
All right.
It wasn't like expiration date.
Wow.
You're like starting off on a high note.
I think there was a year left on.
Jeff might had a year,
Mike
Julie
had-
had 3 or 4.
Julie had like 3. I don't know.
Julie would have
Julie was 5.
5 left?
It was in the packet.
Yeah,
when you approved it.
Yeah.
Julie, but
Somebody was replacing Julie, somebody replacing
Yeah,
Jeff.
please.
Yeah, and I
Thank you
don't
again
remember
so
how
much
it all
for doing
went.
that.
Alright, next we'll, excuse me, we got our budget and our EDA financials. Got any questions on that? Okay. Look at it. We have no more questions on that. We'll approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
That was December's meeting?
It was, yes.
So moved.
I'll approve them.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign.
I wasn't here, so I'll abstain.
Okay. Next is EDA, excuse me, EDA elections for the chair and vice chair. The previous chair has stepped down from EDA, so we have an opening for, and every year we do elections for chair and vice chair. We'll take any nominations for the chair. We'll start with that.
Can we nominate somebody that's not here?
No.
Just a question.
I'm like, I don't actually know the rules on that.
I'm sure you could,
Just a question.
Who are the present?
Currently, I am the vice chair, and there is no chair. Jeff Stevenson was.
Oh, okay.
But if there is none, I will nominate, I will put my name in for chair.
I'll back you up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, okay. Next, vice chair.
How long are those terms?
1 year.
Year, okay.
Every year we,
Switch it around.
We do.
or you can leave it at the, yeah, it's just, whatever works.
Okay.
I'll nominate myself
Okay.
for vice chair.
Anyone want to second it?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to the update on draft purchase documents for the Shopko lot.
Yeah, this was in the council packet, so it's just kind of bringing the EDA up to speed with what was in the council packets on those lots.
And in your packets, there is an overview, and on the other side, it's the
Email.
Yeah, the email with the.
From the city engineer, that was also provided to the city council.
We haven't heard any more.
The city attorney will be discussing some additional information with the council in a closed session at their next meeting.
Okay.
Have we heard back from
Shopko?
Shopko Properties?
Yes.
Okay.
That will be the additional information.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Also in our packet, we have our CEDA update and annual report.
All right, so, regarding the annual report, you'll notice that's all kind of broken out by month, just certain accomplishments, throughout those months, and note items of interest. Started out at the end of May, spent the first few months getting to know the community, office staff, get to have one-on-ones with a good portion of you then. I spent a good deal of time, I guess, the first several months working on the new revolving loan fund application and the policy and procedures manual. We got that all updated, also created a promotionals packet, that was utilized for the ICSC conference, that Teresa attended in Chicago last September. A few other items to note would be the Dodge County Housing Study, working with Buxton, planning the November Marketing in the Morning event, and working with the USDA grant, that I've been working on with images as well. Since the first of the year, I've also taken on 2 new communities this year, so I'll be working in West Concord and Claremont as well. So just kind of slowly taking over Dodge County, one town at a time. I've also recently reached out to Jim Checkle with the Lions Club to work towards getting a shelter at the Lions Park. There is a grant through the Department of Natural Resources, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, that can work towards any playground equipment, any parks and recreation style equipment, and so we're looking at getting a shelter there. It was one of the first items on the list that they had for renovating that park. So we're looking at that. That grant can cover up to 50%, anywhere up to $150,000. So if they're looking at doing more than just the shelter, we do have that option as well. But if they're doing electric, which I think Chris, you and I talked about, then it may take a good chunk of that money out. But he's pretty confident that they will be able to cover the rest in donations through the Lions Club. And I'm meeting with him next week to kind of start setting the parameters on that and what specs they're looking at so we can get that pushed through. Let's see. Oh, I also am going to be attending the chamber board meetings every month now, or every other month, I believe they are, as well as the every other month Dodge County EDA meetings. That way I can kind of keep a good update on those items through our meetings as well. And then CEDA and Journey to Growth will be hosting their 3rd annual regional development tour. This year, Casson has been selected to be a part of that tour. I was able to be a part of the Lewiston portion of that tour last year, so it won't be a new item for me. But what happens with the regional development tour is they host individuals and organizations that are potentially interested in developing in the region. So the examples of the type of people who will be on that bus are going to include businesses who are looking at expansion, site selectors, real estate agents and brokers, developers, bankers, and architecture and engineering firms. So it's a really great opportunity for us to kind of showcase those commercial lots and the industrial lots that we have available here in town to people who are looking at building and developing here in the region. The site selectors is one of the key things to be able to try and recruit into Casson. So that is what I have for my updates. There is obviously a little bit more still in the actual updates I have written in your packets, but any questions, feel free to reach out.
So for the tour in July, right?
Yes.
Are we able, as an EDA or the chamber or all the above, able to put something together? Will we have any time in front of these people? Or is it they just drive through on the bus and somebody points out where the lots are at and they keep going?
For the most part, we keep everyone on the bus. I will find out a little bit closer to, last time we each had one stop in each community, in which case we always have like city administrator or the mayor come on the bus, and be able to talk as we're going through town. We do put together a packet of information, so we can have all of the information about our vacant lots. I mean, that promotional packet that we had created actually for ICSC would be great. CETA will put together zip drives, and everyone on that bus will receive a zip drive that will have information on all the communities that they visit that day. So we can certainly put together all that information, and anything that you wanna make sure gets on that thumb drive, we'll make sure it gets on there, but, usually the mayor of each community does get on the bus and has a talk about, you know, what makes that community special, why that community is a good community to invest in, and just kinda helps to pitch that idea along to everyone who's on that bus. We don't have an exact set date yet either. Joy is supposed to be getting that to me as soon as they have it set, so I should know more by the next meeting.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Excuse me. Next, we got our downtown TIF 5-year rule that expires.
Yes, that's more just a note so that you guys are aware in regards to the downtown lots that are owned by the city and are for sale. The 5-year rule does expire on March 22nd, to offer a development agreement before the TIF runs out.
Can somebody tell me what that is?
TIF, a tax,
I know what that stands for, I wanna know what
tax
the 5-year.
increment financing. Like,
No.
increment
Yeah.
had me stuck.
She wants to know more about the 5-year rule.
I know.
Oh, that I'm not that familiar on.
So, the EDA actually purchased those lots when there were still buildings there, and then paid to have the buildings demolished. And as a TIF district then, they could provide the tax increment as an offset to a developer's financing, cost of financing, to redevelop those lots. But because they haven't been redeveloped within the 5-year timeframe, that opportunity has expired. That would not preclude the EDA from using tax abatement to incentivize development of those lots, and it would not preclude the EDA themselves from collecting the tax increment back to pay for the $70,000 that the EDA expended in the initial development.
You say those lots, could I have a more exact location?
Yeah, there's the 2 downtown between Moose Burgers and where Weberleth and Westner has their.
There's like that park bench
Oh,
in there.
it's just those 2 lots?
Yeah,
Those
just
are
those
2
two.
lots. in the
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
one.
that's-
That's 44 feet, so it'd be 2 22-foot
Oh,
lots.
okay.
Now, does just to kind of piggyback on what Janice said, so say we want to set up a new TIF district southeast somewhere today.
Right.
Does every TIF district come with an expiration period, or was that something the EDA at the time put on it? Is it a state law?
Yes, they do come with, because, well, there's a couple things that have happened over the last, decade or so. One is that the legislature changed some of their criteria for TIF districts that left some cities, short on paying back or being able to pay off any debt they took on to be offset by TIF. But also because the way that the TIF is used to say, but for being a tax increment financing district, no development would happen, but it's not really intended for, you know, to develop land that would just sit there in order to make the best use of those opportunities. I know from Wisconsin there are a lot of vacant industrial parks because almost every little town with 250 people developed an industrial park, but that doesn't mean that folks will come and develop there. So the idea is to know that there's a potential for development before the community makes that commitment to put in a tax increment finance district. So there are some time frames in which the increment can be used to offset, debt or bonding, and then also the time frame in which development needs to begin.
Okay, so if somebody came with a development plan before March 22nd, they could still do the TIF?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You could provide them with TIF. Or alternatively,
We could do something else.
you
we
could
want.
do tax abatement, right,
Okay.
yep. Which gives you way more flexibility than TIF anyway. Oh.
Right.
You're limited with TIF.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, so.
Where do I find the other properties that the city has for sale?
They're all in a promotional packet that,
Yep.
Rebecca could email to you.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd like to get that.
Well, actually, that's not that the city has for sale.
It's just
That's-
all available lots
That
in the
are
city.
available
Mhm.
within the city of Casson.
Yeah, I
Lots
wouldn't know
available
residential, just
within
commercial
it.
and industrial.
Yeah,
We don't have that many, do we?
The city doesn't have.
actually, more than you think,
Do we?
yeah. More
So
than
how would
think.
you know if I have a commercial lot for sale?
Because I keep track of them through the real estate companies through town.
So if you.
Okay, so what
yeah.
you're saying is if I had listed,
Right, right.
Well, if you haven't listed it, then it's not really for sale.
oh, anything's for sale for the right price.
Well, yeah.
Well, in that case,
but
so is your
that's-
house, and that's just
Yeah.
beside
Yeah,
the point.
exactly.
Right,
So what
right.
you're saying is this is
Actively marketed
kind of,
property.
yeah, okay.
Actively
There
marketed.
you
Because
go.
if it's not, if nobody's telling us, then no one knows it's for sale, so that's,
And
yeah,
that's kind of the old existing ones, but the new ones, like Leth out here where the funeral home's
Mhm.
going, when
Yeah.
he came in and platted that, did his development thing, we asked, are you marking those lots? Yep, here's how much they are, so
Yep.
we have those lots with
Yeah.
whatever details. So
Actively.
as people are, or this one that is brought on back here.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
We know as they're
And Tony
platted.
Bigelow has 3 lots near the new Quick Trip.
yeah, the south.
So the actively marketed lots.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah, she has it in print and digital form.
Yep.
Pretty sure I deal with print.
Okay, she can
What
send
do
you
you
the.
Yeah, because we have them printed, so if anyone
Yeah.
ever comes into the office and has questions about a piece of property, we have some that they can just take right after they walk in.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to our 2018 EDA goals and priorities.
So that is for you guys to decide. What would you guys like to see be the goals and objectives of the EDA, for this next year? One thing I would like to point out, I know that we have talked about, revitalizing downtown. I have reached out to some colleagues of mine who have done facade improvement programs in their downtowns. I did speak with Chris about this last week as well. They've done facade improvement programs that have been anywhere from, you know, if you wanna be working and say Chris wants to put a new awning on his business downtown, he can get $2,000 from the, from the Casson EDA to go towards that, and then the rest of the project would be his own. Or there are other communities that go up to $10,000, that they will match on a program dealing with their facade. It would all be, frontage, exterior, fix-ups. And I guess if that's something you guys are interested in, I did also find they have what's called a small town grant program through Smith. And I need to look into the details, but it does offer grants up to $10,000 to communities. It's not gonna be available till this summer for the next grant cycle. But I'm wondering if applying for something like that might be good to create ourselves a fund for maybe a downtown revitalization program. Or we could use it towards something else, but I thought that might be a way of helping us to fund a program like that.
Will we be able to expand on something, in my opinion, downtown's pretty limited. You know, any business in town that has a storefront that would need they'd want to do an upgrade, it wouldn't have to
Yes,
necessarily be
exactly.
downtown, it could be a Casson business that wants to make the front of their building look better.
Like if you're in city limits of Casson, yeah.
Who regulates the conformity?
That would be us. We would get to plan the program from start to finish. I do again, have copies from Stewartville and, St. Charles that we could utilize kind of as a diving spot that we can branch off from, but to create a program like that. I know they've been successful in both of those communities, but, if you want, I can try to, I can't guarantee it by next meeting, but for sure by April, I could have a draft ready to go. I could do my best to have it ready for the next meeting though.
And those grant dollars, you would be eligible for something, to start a program like that?
Yes, yeah, 'cause it's, the grant money is specifically for improvements within the community, and to help expand the economic development of the community, and I believe that as long as we make sure in the grant application that it's stating, you know, by investing in the beautification of downtown or of our businesses, we therefore are gonna be encouraging people to be coming in those doors more often. Because if a building looks a little rickety on the outside, the idea of wanting to walk through that door is a little less than if it's a welcoming and inviting, facade. And so hopefully we can utilize that in the grant, writing process to help us get it.
Can I just back up a little bit? What were the 2017 EDA goals and priorities, and did you make them?
We didn't have a complete set, deal of goals, at least when I came in. I started in May.
Okay.
It seems to me we went through a process.
We did discuss a few things, I know that,
Yeah.
Downtown revitalization was
Right.
probably one of those, but
It was on the list.
I'd have to check through the minutes from June probably to find out.
I'm just wondering if there's anything we should be finishing up from that didn't get finished from last year. What were where were you going a year ago?
I was here too, I'd be curious to see too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tie up loose ends and then move forward too. With
Yeah.
whatever
Well, 'cause I
else.
know that the policy manual was one of those. We did get that all completely updated and completed.
Yeah, that was,
And the policy manual is,
The EDA policy manual, also available on the EDA website.
okay, so.
I guess one of the things that is your next bullet point
Mhm.
is one of the things I'd like to see as a priority or.
Oh, for
goal
sure.
Oh, yeah.
For the EDA as a whole.
So maybe getting that contractor developer form.
A forum to get their feedback, you know,
Okay.
I talk to a lot of those folks on a regular basis, and it'd be good to get them in the same room where we can get the feedback from them on what we can be doing as an EDA, but then also as a city, our city policies, our building permits or whatever, how are we competitive with other places to help spur more development, without giving it all away. I mean, we have
Right,
to-
yeah,
But to
exactly.
hear their feedback all at once versus getting a phone call at 6 in the morning and bark about this particular thing, and okay, you write that down, and then you hear from somebody else that they're okay with that, you know, so it's just to get a consistent, that, hey, we wanna hear it, we'll listen, and we're gonna work with you to do the best we can do, but to get all those folks in the room before the busy season of their spring comes
Yeah.
along
Mhm.
would be good.
Does Byron have an EDA?
yep, they do, they meet, I think at, let's say it's 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I'm glad I live in Casson.
It could be interesting to pose the same question of what people would like to see from the EDA to the chamber as well, and see what some of our local businesses would like to see happening
Yeah.
to help spur their own development.
Yeah.
So I can make sure that at the next chamber meeting, I'll be sure to ask that of some of our
Then we
businesses
could
and take some notes.
hand out some questions that chamber members could.
What questions do you think we should have on there?
Where do you think the EDA should spend their money? What do you think needs to be, what's the biggest problem in Casson? Is it business, is it, housing, is it, I don't know.
'Cause yeah, my suggestion would be just to pose the question to spur a little bit of conversation, 'cause usually the best information we can get comes from conversation and debate, and by allowing one person to speak and then hearing that and kind of snowballing ideas, I think is kind of gonna be the best way to progress and get some really great answers.
So when we get this feedback from the business community,
And then I can report all that back at the next meeting to.
And the contractors and developers, the next step is, what do we do with that? How do we
Mhm.
package that information for us to be able to
Move
use our
Prioritize.
budget to offer incentives, whether it's a storefront, and, you know, 'cause we may have this idea of storefront improvement, and, you know, as I look through your CEDA's 2016
Mhm.
annual report, I noticed that 15 communities had a storefront beautification program. Like, well, where'd that come from? That's why I
Yep.
kind of put the bug in your ear. But maybe the business community says, boy, but if you did this instead, 30 of us would think that's more of a priority than the storefront.
Exactly.
So, before we apply for the grant, I think.
Well, yeah, and that grant program's not even available till this summer.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, I guess, just along the, you know, one of the priorities or things that we started last year, you know, was the concentrating on getting more active in that retail recruitment. Which
Mhm.
we've got some offers on some lots and some different things, so I think just continuing that process of what we've learned and to take the next step and go keep selling ourselves that way.
Yep, and actually there is an individual, her name is Crystal, and I'm trying to remember the name of the place, but she does coffee, and, roasting, a roastery apparently is what it's called, for roasting coffee beans, and apparently she's been doing this out of her home and is looking at moving to a storefront, so I'm also going to be meeting with her next week, the week after, on the 21st. We are gonna be meeting up to kind of discuss what options there are for her, as far as getting her into a storefront. I know that she said that she has looked at some of the vacant locations downtown, but the rent rates are a little much for her to handle as a starting business, so we're looking in some grant and loan programs for her as well. Possibly looking at seeing what she might be doing as far as the vacant lots that we have downtown. If we'd be able to part with that lot for very little money, we might be able to find a way for her to be able to build or to acquire land, I guess, in that sense. Obviously, that's gonna have to be something we discuss with her as far as what her plans are and what her vision is for this business, but, we will be talking with her later this month, but.
So what does it, I had this from another person in town who was looking at possibly buying one of those lots.
Oh, great.
And they were told they need a development plan in order to
Mhm.
commit. So if I said, I'm interested in one of those lots, what would be required of a person interested in that to come in with and say, I'm serious, I wanna do this, and make an offer?
Well, they wouldn't have to have like finalized building specs or anything, but yeah, they would wanna have, a plan basically stating like, this is the type of construction that we're going to be doing here for this type of business, or this type of residential home, or whatever it is they're trying to put in whatever location. Obviously, for downtown, it would need to be a commercial property or mixed-use property. But they just need to kinda come with a plan, 'cause we obviously don't wanna have someone say, hey, I wanna buy that, and then,
Do nothing.
yeah, nothing happens, 'cause that's not great for the tax situation on.
They gotta kinda have an idea too of their finances, not just come in and say, I wanna buy it, and then build a building and have no
Yep.
idea if they can even afford it.
We don't have anything that would put out what we need in order for them to come in and see us doing any form or
Not that
anything.
I'm aware of, but now that you've just walked back in.
Yeah.
If someone was looking at purchasing, one of the lots downtown,
Yeah.
and what would they ask for, a development plan?
What's
What would-
required?
Do we have any specific requirements for development
Well-
plan here in Casson?
Well, that would be similar to, that outlot B and lot 15 in front of Shopco, that, Vanderbilt Avenue address, is that, because they're purchasing it from the EDA, it has statutory requirements, for development. So somebody can't buy it and just sit on it for years.
So is there somewhere published where I'm not interested, but say it
Right.
was me, I said, hey, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
What would I have to get back to the EDA for them to listen to?
What's the,
Well, I mean, if someone wanted to purchase a lot, their attorney could prepare for them, offer to purchase. Then the city council could, take a look at that offer to purchase, and the city attorney could prepare a proper
See an offer to
counter offer
purchase.
documentation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't need plans and
No.
drawings of
No.
buildings.
Yeah, 'cause I was like, we don't think you need any finalized specs on anything.
Right.
But could I just come in and purchase a lot? Do I have to say what I'm going to use it for? I'm not getting that.
Oh.
If,
It's from the city, you would
being
need to
the
state what it's
city
for.
owns it, there's
Yeah,
requirements, so
what does the
Right,
city
so if
require?
you came in, so
Right.
let's
Get
say
that.
that you came and you offered to buy the lots downtown.
Yeah,
They're commercial property,
yeah.
they're zoned C2.
Two, I think.
Yeah, they're zoned C2,
Yeah.
there are permitted uses, there are conditional uses. But by purchasing that lot, you would have a time frame in which to develop those lots,
For those permitted uses.
yes.
or a conditional
What are
use.
the permitted uses?
Those would be in the zoning ordinance, and that also is available online at the city website.
Yep. 'Cause yeah, that'd be a C2 as opposed to a C1 or C3 or mixed use.
Yeah, so you would just go to the city website and
But we
look
have
at the-
something on paper?
Well, you could print them out from the city website, or you could request that someone print those for you.
Print them out here,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Just send an email to City Hall at cityofcaston.com, and they can print the copies that you want. If you want more than, 100 copies, or I don't know, depending on the number of copies you want, it could be 25 cents a copy.
So what I asked for is C1 regulations on what I can build.
Well, you check, if you're
Okay.
interested in those two, if you're interested in specifically the two lots between Mushburgers and Weberluff and Worcester office.
That would be a C2, yeah.
That's what we understand, but you can also call us and verify that that is indeed the zoning. I mean, we're sitting in here without all our resources
Yeah,
right
we
now.
don't have it all in
Okay.
here. 'Cause I've got no laptop in the EDA meeting.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that your priorities last year was pushing retail,
Business recruitment, retail recruitment.
retail, but you're not looking at any kind of, industrial? You're not looking at
Any kind of business.
any kind of business,
Yeah.
not
Well,
retail?
these are industrial lots, so they have their specific permitted and conditional uses.
When you're saying these?
Right behind.
So
Right
we're
behind
right
us.
behind City
Oh,
Hall,
okay.
the three
Right
back
in this
here
area.
on Commerce
Down the
Drive.
paths out there too.
So, right,
Yeah.
right. Less is C3, and that has its own uses and conditional uses. And then, is it C3 also?
It is C3, yes.
3 also, that Bigelow has, and those also have their own permitted and conditional uses.
So these are actively promoted for sale?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's our
Where do I find their
understanding.
prices?
That packet
through
you're gonna get,
the
will have the
realty
prices
company.
on it.
Or you could find them if you went to a website like
I'm not good with
LoopNet.com.
going to the website.
Or if you
I do
called
like
John
paper.
Buckingham, he would be happy to
John
share with
Buckingham
you.
is your realtor? John Buckingham is your realtor?
No.
Not ours.
No,
He's
no.
representing the
The
city,
city.
No.
he's representing
'Cause
Clocky.
we don't own those properties.
We
Those
don't
are owned
own
by-
any of these
Oh, you don't
properties.
own
I'm
it.
just saying to
Okay.
you, I happen to know for a fact if you called John Buckingham, he would share with you the price of any of those lots.
But John represents,
You could tell me.
right, anybody.
That's
but
commercial, that's kind of a whole
Okay.
different ballgame
We know
than
that
real
John's
estate.
representing Clocky's, this development right here.
Okay.
He's got his signs on those properties.
Yeah.
The only properties the city
Okay,
owns
so
are the
those
two
are
downtown.
city.
Not in the
front
shop a
shop.
lot.
No, they weren't,
Yeah.
just the ones on the.
Right, the only one the city owns are the
Okay.
two downtown,
The
by
two
Moose Burger,
downtown.
and the front of Shopko. That's the
Ah.
only thing the city owns. The rest of it, we're getting
Is
from the
private.
developers saying, hey, if you have land that you wanna sell,
Okay.
We're
let
just
us
putting it
know.
out there.
We'll help you get the word out there.
All right.
And the reason I said retail earlier was any business, any kind of business, but there's more data available for recruiting specific retail, where the industrial people are pretty tight. You have to get out that you have lots available, they'll come, these, what do you call it?
The site selectors.
The site selectors will find it if it's out there. Where retail, there's, you know, certain type of retail says, we want 8,000 cars a day, we want this population, we want this many activities. It's easier to go to them and say, hey, look at us, we meet that.
Yeah.
Where the industrial people, usually the city would be the last person that they're gonna talk to. when they're ready to ask for something.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, that like CETA, we will get emails specifically from individuals with deed up in the cities stating, we've got a company that's looking to be in southeastern Minnesota, they wanna be on Highway 14, they wanna be this far away from a major interstate, they need to be this close to rail, this is the kind of specs they want for a lot. Does anybody in this region meet that? And all of us from CETA get on our laptops and look at all of our communities going, we could put it here. And then we can go to our communities and say, hey, would you be interested in this? And we send in all of our specs to them, and they pick us as opposed to retail where we kind of go after them. Industrial, they make their decisions based on what we have available for their transportation and their resources.
And then the EDA can come in to possibly help financially?
Correct.
In retail, as I've learned in the last 12 months, the industrial companies like more activity in retail, because the more retail there is, that gives their employees something to do, and when they're hosting meetings, that type of thing. So retail will bring in industrial, which is bringing in more retail, because so it's kind of one of those, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? We're trying to get chicken or an egg right now, so. And as we talk to our current business owners too, retail recruitment or business recruitment doesn't necessarily have to be a brand-new business owner from out of town coming in. It could be somebody in town who already is running a business or two that says, hey, there's a need for this, there's a space for it, we could do that too.
Right.
So a franchise opportunity or whatever, so.
Along the idea of different priorities too, I am curious what everyone's thoughts are about, affordable housing or workforce housing. I know that we are doing well at the single-family homes, getting those up every year. What are we averaging, Teresa, about 40 a year?
No, I think we were 53.
53?
I think this year.
So we're doing okay on expansion residentially, for single-family housing, but I am curious as far as multifamily housing, or low-income housing, if that's something that you'd all be interested in looking into, if it's something that we are not. And I know that communities can get very scared of the word low-income housing, because everyone thinks that it means something that it doesn't. They think it's gonna be a slum, or that it's gonna bring in criminals, and completely false. But it does scare some people, but I am curious to see what your opinions are on that, and if it's something you'd like to look at.
I think affordable housing would be more so than low-income housing.
Exact same thing, actually.
Is that what they classify it as?
It's the
Yeah.
exact
Do
same
that.
thing.
You know,
Yeah, it just matters how you market it.
Okay.
And Liza could probably speak, anybody in this room talks to people, people. The toughest part is, as a city, we could say, yep, we wanna have more affordable housing, but then what are we willing and able to do to make it affordable?
Yeah.
Right.
Because the land cost is the land cost.
Mm-hmm.
Building
The building costs are the building costs, whether we want it to be affordable or not, it's what that end sale price or rental rate's gonna be. And all the builders I've talked to people till I'm blue in the face the last 12 months trying to, we just need some 6 or 8 little, the little apartment thing where you could make it affordable. But to build one of those, the rent's gonna be $1,200-1,500 a month. That's not affordable by definition. You
Yeah.
ask the folks that, what would affordable rent be for you? Well, $600 to $800 a month.
Yeah.
And you work that backwards.
Without federal money.
You can't make,
Yeah, well.
without grant money or
Grant money.
assistance from somewhere, you can't
Well, and
build
that's
it.
why I'm curious, because if it
Something
is
like
something you'd all be interested in, that's when I would start my digging, on programs. Because if it's something that we're not interested in at all, then I won't waste city time digging into that. But if it is something that we're interested in looking into.
Low-income versus workforce housing, totally different criteria.
Correct.
As far as, yeah. So it's two totally different things
Yeah, and the question I'm asking is, are we interested in any of them?
in either.
Yes.
I think we're interested in
Yeah.
anything that would make sense. I mean,
Okay.
if there's programs available out there
Yeah.
that we can tap into, that Caston's a desirable community for them to put some of those dollars into,
Because
I'd be open to that.
I do feel that that's another reason why we don't necessarily get a lot of, interest from industrial groups, because they need a workforce. Where are they gonna find their workforce? Because we don't exactly have a high unemployment rate here. We've got a good unemployment rate here in town, and as great as that is for the community, it's not great for expansion. When you're trying to bring in some of those larger businesses that need to hire, 30 or 40 people off the bat, they need to be able to find those 30, 40 people. So if we are able to say, well, you can bring them in, we've got housing. Or, if you're interested in doing that, we can look at putting up housing. So if we can, I'll dig in and see if I can find some programs, and then maybe that's something we can advertise. If we do go forward with it, we could advertise that on the city website, which might be helpful in recruiting.
Are we open to bringing in some manufacturing, some blue-collar labor? I will honestly tell you that I've been here for a long time. Casson has been known to be unfriendly to blue-collar workers. Housing or working, not here. We're very retail-friendly. That's why when you said retail, I thought, are we still going down that same path? So are we open to trying to get businesses that provide jobs, that they can even buy a house,
I think absolutely.
Yeah.
That just makes
I
the
mean,
retail
that just-
sector healthier. I mean, it makes everybody,
Yeah.
There's plenty of businesses that have come here as industrial that haven't made it either. It's tough. It's not an easy to make it go, because most of their problem is finding the workers. Because, I mean, you had Hiawatha Land Tool over here, you had, just out on Old 14, what was that one? TriStar,
Yeah.
and there was another one.
TriStar Manufacturing.
They've been here, the city's worked with them, but sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's, part of it is location. They're too close to Rochester, so it kinda hurts them, 'cause.
Yep.
But I mean, now you got Les building over there, that's gonna be his electric shop instead of.
But I do think that, we can promote we're not Olmsted County.
No,
No,
but it doesn't,
Olmsted County is,
it's a whole different
yeah,
world.
you get in with them and
Yeah.
you're just,
Big bucks.
yeah, and they beat you out of it. They did when the, printing plant came in. Didn't we have a shot at that?
We tried, yeah.
All of a sudden, Olmsted,
Well,
Clarence
because
said,
Olmsted can say,
"Hmm."
here's the land, have
Yeah.
it. They have the money to be able to just hand over what they
But,
need to.
Byron put in that industrial park how many years ago, and they're still trying to,
Well, that went under,
yeah,
and now they're selling those lots for little or nothing.
right, trying to get
Trying to get people in there, and they are selling them.
they are, but,
Yeah. They are.
So
but it's harder to compete when
And
somebody's
the
willing to
city
give you
can't
the land.
develop lots, I don't think, can they? We can't develop lots, could we?
Meaning like just getting them shovel ready?
What, yeah.
You can,
We
but
absolutely can. I
can.
mean, there's a decent cost to
you
to
gotta come
doing
up
it
with
though.
the money up front. That's why cities try not to do that.
That's
Because-
gonna be one of the only ways you're gonna be able to compete, probably.
Because with back here, our industrial lots, they are shovel ready, they are just not certified shovel ready.
Okay.
So basically everything's been done as far as
Soil
the fiber
testing.
optics are in there, everything's ready.
Yeah, but if
But
you're
that was the
talking
contract.
shovel ready, you've gotta have all your soil testing done.
Yep.
And all of that is
That
done.
all is done?
It's all
'Cause-
done.
Yeah, it's
It was
completely
up
shovel
to-
ready, just no
Yeah, we let
certification.
John Buckingham know how he could get those lots certified. But I believe it's $3,000 a lot.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
that came through private money, not city doing it, correct?
there was,
Or was there, no, there was some city.
yeah.
Yeah, there was, yeah.
And that actually started back, honestly, in 1980.
Yeah.
That's how long ago that started.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Let's, contractor and developer forum. Kinda working on,
Well, that's something that, the mayor and I had a discussion on, is basically the, coordinating with the Hoisington Kobler group, to set up, we're talking about setting up a meeting with them, with contractors, developers, landowners, and the like, and then basically, we'd like to kind of see how we can move forward working together with these groups, finding out what it is that they're looking for. and if we are able to provide it. Like, obviously, we don't want to go in there and have everybody think that we can just magically make happen what they want to have happen, but be able to have those discussions and find out what is it that you need to be able to be successful, to expand, to bring in new business, to build more, to do whatever needs to be done, and then what is the city able to do in order to help facilitate that. But I think by having a forum or some sort of meeting with them, we would be able to better address those issues. Almost out of lunch. Microwave. Many of these people are actually already going to be at the comprehensive planning session tomorrow.
The Hoyes and Kobler group will be at those.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
That's tomorrow from 5:30 to 7, it's the
Yeah.
comp plan, correct?
Yep, working group, yeah.
So I mean, we could pitch the idea, even there, and see if it's something.
There won't be any developers.
Oh, okay, so
No,
just gonna be the.
Just the working group.
It's the
Hoyes and
working
Kobler.
group, Hoisington Kobler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's contractors, and this started with last year when I first came on the council. We had an issue with building permits and some of the fees and different things, and I talked to different contractors, said, would it be helpful if we had some time where we tried to get everybody together in the same room and discuss these things and get your feedback so we know what you're thinking, because, you know, again, one person didn't like this part, but liked this part, and everyone, now we're okay with that, but not, you know, so just to get good feedback so we know as we're setting these things, we're working with them rather than just saying, hey, here's the way it's gonna be, take it or leave it. Make sure we get their feedback on being competitive with neighboring communities, and get part of the long-range plan of these contractors that are building. How many lots do we have? What's our inventory of buildable lots? If we're building 50 homes a year, we know we just approved for plats in the last 12 months.
That's only.
About a year and a half, 2 years now, we have no lots to build on. So what do we need to do as a city to help facilitate the transfer of land to somebody that wants to develop it and that type of thing, so. That was what I was thinking, to get them together and invite the real estate agents and appraisers, anybody that's involved with real estate and development.
And when you and I were talking too, we were saying to have the EDA be there facilitating that meeting, or do you think just as like a community forum type?
I think, and my thought was the EDA would be the one to kind of facilitate it, because that would, anything that they would be doing would come back through the EDA, or that would be,
Yeah.
or the assistance would be to be able to recommend back to the council, hey, we heard from contractors and developers, here's what they're saying, here's what the EDA can do to help. We recommend that the council look at that and help us come up with a plan to.
Because we could essentially set that up then as an unofficial EDA meeting, meaning we don't actually have to have quorum to make it continue. It also doesn't need to be recorded, for minutes purposes. I think I'd record it anyway, just for our own purposes, but, I don't think it would have to be then a city slot, essentially.
I think an open forum is, you're gonna get more information.
Exactly.
More than a
More than
meeting.
this.
Yeah, and I do also think
Talking
an
across the
evening
desk.
meeting would be better as well, because a lot of people can't make it out for their lunch hours.
And everybody's got an opportunity. Every
Exactly.
developer or contractor can be
Send out.
represented, either they can't be there, but one other folks can be there, that you had an opportunity to come share with us what's important and what your feedback is, and we're listening.
Yep.
It's a big thing, rather than just dictating, here's how it's gonna be, and deal with it.
Right.
That's
So
what I
we
was
could-
thinking when I was talking, so it's
Yeah.
up to the rest of the EDA if they wanna do that or not, so.
I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I think
If
it
you can
needs
get
to be
it
done.
set up and let us know when, and
Is there any particular time of like, I mean, like, is there a certain
no good.
month we'd like to do this? I mean,
sooner the better,
Oh.
because.
I mean, the 4th of July works great for me. How about you guys?
I think,
I'm joking.
unfortunately, for my schedule, the sooner the better.
Yep.
It's probably gonna be better for the people we would like to come hear from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Before
By the
they get
middle of
too
March,
busy.
you wanna have this done by the middle of March.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
now's the time.
Now's the
Yeah,
time,
sometime
that's-
before the 1st of March, really, before things start to thaw, and they can get out and start digging and doing that.
Cause they're ready.
Okay.
They're
I
already
will
planned.
probably send out an email then, a group email to all of you, that I'd like to just get, take some time and think about what are the things you'd like to personally see being addressed or asked of developers at that meeting, because it'll help with trying to plan it out quickly. So if I could ask you to do homework, I'll send out an email just kind of making that request. And then I'll take a look at some dates and see what's going on in the community, see what we can do with that, and then I'll send out those dates too, see how everybody's feeling about dates and times to set that up.
Okay. All right, any other business that we got?
Just had a quick question, going back on, new projects, Buxton Alternative,
Oh.
just, reading through it.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
We worked with Buxton for the last year. We're in the, it's an annual contract, right? So we don't have to renew. And what I've requested from them is that they give us some additional time, free of charge. And we're waiting to hear back on that.
Yep.
So we don't really have a definitive answer from them on that yet. What happened was our representative quit midstream on us and kind of left us hanging. We had Teresa was in Chicago visiting family last September, which happened to be during one of the conferences that was in Chicago, the regional conference. So she went over on her own time and went to the conference for us, and we had set up meetings with this representative from Buxton. Well, he quit the company and never told anybody, and left her hanging high under. She wandered around, did what she could do, meeting people and talking to them, and she didn't do nothing. But these meetings that were supposedly set up to talk to these owners of these franchises and retail businesses. And
Who's Buxton?
the retail recruitment company that we partnered with
Hired a year ago.
last April.
Okay.
So we're in the process of requesting compensation.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work out, then there's other alternatives that we can do through the extension office and other things that we're researching.
Yep.
But we're asking for more information from them, free of
So-
charge.
The city hired Buxton?
Correct.
Not the EDA?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah. But it kind of fell back, the EDA is the one kind of
The beneficiary.
getting
information.
the information
Should
back.
be able to get them, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a return on investment that's lacking a little bit.
Yeah.
right?
Well, they gave us the information up front, they said they would, and we've made some contacts to some national retailers that we got some, cold responses from. Some of them just said, hey, no, you're not big enough, or no, you don't meet the criteria, and others said, well, maybe in a couple years, but here's what we wanna get. So it did give us some good information on information that we need to put together. They want economic generators, I must use that word a million times last year. What are your economic generators? So I went to the school and I figured out there were 57,000 people that visited Casson last year from outside of Casson for school events.
Wow.
And now they said, that's great, but when, what time of year, what time of day? So now I'm trying to put together, so that's the school. Mayo Clinic is gonna get us information on, they're working through HIPAA and all that, but where do their patients come from? Not by name, but what zip code do they come from?
Yeah.
How many come to town on a daily or a weekly, so some of these companies
They
said.
come through this one.
Yeah, just the Casson one. So what are Casson's economic generators? So that was probably the biggest piece of information we got from some of these individual retailers was, great, you have 10,000 cars a day that go on Manorville Avenue.
But do they stop?
Do they all live here? Are they coming from out of town? How long do they stay in town? Are they here over a meal hour? Or are they just here for 5 minutes to drop something off and leave? So we got the information up front they told us they would give us, but then Antoine, the guy that was assigned to us, kind of dropped the ball. We had a hard time getting a hold of him, he quit. So, I didn't feel that we got a full 12 months of value of what they gave us. Now, does that mean you sign with them and you're gonna have all these businesses move to town? No. Recruiting these businesses takes years.
Yeah.
So getting that information and being able to target them was good. I just don't feel we got 100% of what we should have, so I'm asking for more.
How did we determine to hire Buxton versus Joe Blow?
I had actually been looking at recruitment companies before I was elected, and
Okay.
Teresa had been doing the same thing, and we both got together when I brought the idea, and we both arrived at the same company without knowing that each other was looking at it.
Huh.
So there was 2 other companies, and this was the least expensive of them.
Oh, maybe that's the deal.
Part of it, well, yeah, it wasn't that much.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
Yeah.
no, I don't know if that was.
I think Antoine was the biggest problem.
Yeah.
I think our individual, and I think they know that too.
Yeah, 'cause we actually had a conference call with Jeremy, the new representative, and he sounds more knowledgeable than Anton. He's more responsive. If I email him, I get something back within 15 minutes, not 15 days. He's substantially better.
And they're willing to come back
contact.
another time to work with our existing businesses on different things they can do that was supposed to be done before, which was really,
Yeah.
so, trying to hold their feet to the fire to get as much out of them as we can.
Well, especially because all of the upgrade to our service that we've been experiencing all of a sudden is at the very end of the contract, so it's like, are you doing this right now to get us to renew and then we'll end up in the same situation, or is this gonna be the way, I guess, that it continues?
It was a 5-year with a.
Three. What, it was a 3-year.
3-year with annual
But it was
renewals.
annual renewals.
Yeah,
You
so
could
it's a
drop
lock
out
rate.
after a year, you were done. Yeah. So we don't have to renew, which we don't.
Very good.
All right. We look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll
So
make
moved.
that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right.